In the peaceful village of Koko, Jora and Lyra lived a happy but incomplete life. They had been married for years, and their love was deep and unwavering. Yet their home remained silent. No sounds of a child's laughter, no pitter-patter of small feet. Lyra's heart ached with each passing year as she saw other mothers cradle their babies, while her arms remained empty. Jora, too, felt the weight of the villagers' whispers behind his back. People said that perhaps the gods had cursed them, that they had offended some higher power. Lyra visited every healer, every midwife, and prayed at every shrine in Koko and beyond. She tried rare herbs, ancient remedies, and chanted prayers beneath the full moon. The couple even made sacrifices to the gods, leaving offerings at shrines with desperate pleas for mercy. But despite all their efforts, they remained barren. One evening, after many years of unanswered prayers, the couple sat in their hut, the flames casting long shadows across their small cottage. "Perhaps the gods have forsaken us," Lyra whispered, tears slipping down her cheeks. Jora wrapped his arm around her, his face etched with sadness. Just as they were about to surrender to despair, there came a knock on the door. Jora opened it to find a figure standing there, cloaked in darkness, wearing a mask made of bone. The air around the figure felt heavy, as though something ancient and powerful had followed them into the night. "I know what you seek," the figure whispered, its voice cold and commanding. "You long for a child to fill the void in your lives. I can give you what you desire, but every gift has a price." Desperation outweighed their caution. Lyra and Jora invited the shadowy figure inside and listened as they described an ancient ritual. It was a strange and dangerous ceremony, calling on forgotten powers of the earth, powers beyond the familiar gods of Koko. That very night, under the cover of darkness, the couple performed the ritual as instructed. They gathered rare herbs, built an altar at the edge of the village, and made offerings as the figure had said. The ritual involved lighting 3 black candles, burning sacred incense, and chanting words from an ancient language they did not understand. As the final words of the chant left their lips, the wind howled and the earth trembled beneath their feet. A sense of unease gripped them, but the figure only watched in silence, unmoving. Months passed, and Lyra found herself pregnant. At first, the couple was overwhelmed with joy. They could hardly believe their prayers had been answered. The villagers of Koko rejoiced with them, seeing the pregnancy as a sign of divine intervention. However, as Lyra's belly grew, strange things began to happen around their home. The winds blew stronger, different animals gathered near their cottage, and Lyra was plagued by strange dreams. Finally, the night of the birth arrived. The midwife came to help, but as soon as the baby was born, a horrified silence fell over the room. The child, a boy, had 2 small, sharp horns protruding from his forehead. His skin was pale, and his eyes shone with a strange golden light that flickered like fire. The air around him felt cold, unnatural. This is not normal," the midwife stammered, backing away. The child's horns glistened under the dim candlelight, casting long shadows on the walls. The villagers, too, whispered in fear. They called the child cursed, a demon, a punishment from the gods. Jora and Lyra, once full of hope, now looked at their son in terror. The words of the shadow figure echoed in their minds. Every gift has a price. The fear of what they had summoned into their lives grew unbearable. They couldn't bear to raise a child so marked by darkness. Fearing that he would bring ruin to their village, they made a heart-wrenching decision. Late one night, under the cover of darkness, they took their newborn son deep into the forest, far beyond the borders of Koko. They placed him beneath an ancient tree and abandoned him to the wild, praying that the forest would take him. "We are sorry," Lyra whispered, tears streaming down her face as she turned away. Jora, too, felt the weight of their guilt, but neither could bring themselves to look back. The baby's cries echoed through the trees as they disappeared into the night. In the nearby village of Abba, an old man named Doran lived a quiet life on the outskirts of the forest. Doran was known for his knowledge of herbs, healing, and the ancient ways of nature. One night, while gathering firewood near the forest's edge, he heard an unusual sound, the faint cry of a baby carried on the wind. Curious and worried, Doran followed the sound until he stumbled upon the child lying at the base of the ancient tree. His eyes widened in shock when he saw the baby's horns and glowing golden eyes. The child was clearly not ordinary, yet Doran felt no fear, only a deep protective instinct. "No child should be left to die like this," he murmured, lifting the baby into his arms. The boy stopped crying, looking up at Doran with an almost knowing gaze. Despite the strangeness of his appearance, Doran saw something powerful and unique in the boy. "From now on, you are Kai," Doran said softly, naming the child after the ancient word for strength. He took the baby back to Arbor, where he raised him in his small home, treating him with love and care. Though the villagers of Arbor noticed Kai's strange horns and otherworldly eyes, they were wary of him. As Kai grew older, they began to avoid him, fearful of what they did not understand. Rumors spread that he was a cursed child, and many believed he brought misfortune to their village. Children refused to play with him, and the adults whispered behind his back. Doran, however, loved Kai like his own son, teaching him the ways of the forest and how to live in harmony with the natural world. But even Doran could not shield Kai from the loneliness that came with being different. As Kai grew, his abnormality became more pronounced. His horns, once small, had grown larger and sharper, curling slightly like those of a young stag. His golden eyes glowed in the dark, and strange occurrences seemed to follow him. The villagers of Arbor began to fear Kai more deeply, believing that his presence brought bad luck and danger. They avoided him, and Kai was left to roam the outskirts of the village, isolated and alone. Meanwhile, long ago, the people of Arbor made a promise to an ancient god for their prosperity, but they failed to keep their end of the deal. Over time, they forgot about the promise, but the ancient magic did not. When Kai turned 16, a strange, unnatural fog crept through the village, filling the streets with a heavy sense of fear. Suddenly, the ground shook, and from the nearby mountains, a huge beast appeared, its body covered in black scales, eyes burning like fire, and its roar shaking the ground. The beast had been summoned because of the broken promise, returning as a punishment to remind the villagers of the old oath they had neglected. The villagers panicked. The creature tore through the fields, setting crops aflame and destroying homes with terrifying strength. There seemed to be no way to stop the beast as it ravaged the village. In the chaos, Kai felt something stir deep within him. His horns began to glow faintly, as if resonating with the energy of the creature. His heart raced as an ancient primal instinct took over. While the villagers fled in terror, Kai found himself walking toward the beast, drawn to it by some unknown force. To everyone's astonishment, the creature stopped its rampage as soon as it laid eyes on Kai. It sniffed the air, then lowered its massive head, bowing as if recognizing him. The horns on Kai's head pulsed with light, and with a simple gesture, he calmed the beast. The villagers watched in awe as the creature, now docile, retreated back into the mountains, leaving Arbor unharmed. The villagers, who had once feared Kai, now looked at him with a mixture of awe and reverence. They realized that his abnormality was not a curse, but a gift, the only thing that could save them from the beast. Word of the horned boy who tamed the beast spread quickly. Even in village Coco, rumors of the child with golden eyes and horns reached the ears of Jorah and Lyra. They couldn't ignore the gnawing guilt that rose inside them. Could this be their son, the cursed child they had abandoned so many years ago? Consumed by remorse, they made the journey to village Abba, hoping to see for themselves if the boy was truly their child. When they arrived, they were met with the sight of Kai, now a young man standing tall and proud among the villagers. Their hearts sank with recognition. The horns, the glowing eyes, this was their son. Trembling, they approached him. "We are your parents," they confessed, tears flowing freely. "We abandoned you because we were afraid. We thought you were cursed, but now we see we were wrong. Please, forgive us." Kai looked at them, the pain of abandonment still fresh in his heart. For years he had wondered why he had been left to die, why he had been so different. Now, standing before his birth parents, he felt a mix of anger, sadness, and something deeper, understanding. "You left me," Kai said quietly. "You feared what you didn't understand, but I survived. I found my place here." Jorah and Lyra knelt before him, begging for forgiveness. "We know we were wrong. Please, give us a chance to make things right." Kai stared at them for a long time before sighing. "I forgive you," he said, "but I will not forget. My path is my own now." With that, Kai turned away, leaving his past behind as he walked back to his new home. The villagers of Arba now saw him not as a demon, but as their savior. And Kai, once cursed and abandoned, had finally found his place in the world. As for Jorah and Lyra, they returned to their village regretting their actions and remained without children. The tale of Kai, the horned child, spread far and wide, becoming a legend in the valley. Some called him a hero, others a guardian, but to those who knew him, he was simply Kai, a boy who had turned his curse into strength and found his true home among those who once feared him. And so the legend lived on, a reminder that what makes us different can sometimes be the source of our greatest power. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more interesting stories like this. Thank you for watching and see you next time.